If you are thinking about relocating to Salem, Oregon, or the surrounding areas, you are for sure going to want to listen in until the very end today because we are sharing some really important things that you need to know before you move here. We're going to explain the different sides of town, different areas, and just share some more information and tips for moving here. But before we get into it, if you're new here, welcome. My name's Mariah.
And I'm Spencer.
And we are a top producing husband and wife real estate team here in Oregon. And we get calls, texts, and emails from people like you that are watching our YouTube videos and are moving to our area all the time. If that's you, feel free to reach out. We would love to work with you as well. I will put our email and address and our website in the description below.
Let's tell the audience our experiences here in Salem. I mean, we were born and raised here.
Yes, we are both Oregonians, lifelong Oregonians.
And we love this place. We love the weather. We love the location. And then obviously us being top producing agents here in Oregon, we love getting people here and telling them all about it because why not give people experiences that we get? Yeah,
and getting to hear the excitement from my relocation clients, getting to hear like all the things that they're so excited about moving to Salem for. And of course, after they move here, getting to hear how much they're loving it. Like that is one of our favorite things about
it really is. And it's different too.
And it really does give us a fresh appreciation of where you live, because I feel like if you've lived somewhere your entire life, it's really easy to just look at it as like, oh, it's a boring town, but it really gives us a fresh outlook and a good perspective on Salem.
Yeah. And there's been clients that have lived in certain parts of California, for instance, their whole life. And they're like, it's time for a change. It's time for a switch up. So we settled them in the Kaiser area, which is a branch of Salem. And these type of stories happen all the time surrounding Salem in those other towns like Albany, Kaiser, Woodburn. And so if that's you wanting to make the move, that is possibly how you found us today on this video. Reach out. We are always happy to contact you back and tell you what we can best do for you, set you up on a property watch, or just answer simple questions about Oregon you may have.
Yes. Okay, so starting right off, so Salem is kind of split up into, I guess you could say, the way that it's built into our different sides of town, if you will. So the way I see it, at least, is South Salem is kind of like its own little town. I mean, it's not. It's all one town. But in my mind, South Salem's kind of like its own little town. And then we've got Northeast Salem and we have West Salem, which we'll explain, where they're located. And then we'll touch on Kaiser as well, which is not in Salem, but it's just on the outskirts of Salem. A lot of clients choose to move there because it's an easier commute to Portland, and it's just like north of Salem a little bit. Salem Kaiser School District, they share a school district and all of that. So let's start off with South Salem. A lot of our clients choose to move to South Salem. Well, I actually feel like we have a pretty good amount of clients that choose to move to each different side, Kaiser
really
included,
and
even outskirts. Yes, towns on the outskirts, which we won't really get into today. We're going to kind of stick with Salem, but South Salem, very desirable area. You're going to see the highest average home price in South Salem. You're going to see top rated schools, top, highest safety rating. Like it's very, very safe, desirable, a lot of really beautiful neighborhoods. It's very suburban. All of Salem is, I would say, very suburban.
And I would say it's more like, the west side of Commercial Street. So Commercial Street's that one strip of concrete that's going to get you from Southeast Salem, basically all the way through Central Salem, downtown Salem to Kaiser. But it's on the west side of Commercial Street for the most part. For goodness sakes, the governor's mansion is located in South Salem. And like Mariah said, it's more of that suburban feel. It's more mature. I think that's a really good word in the description. The trees, live oak trees, a lot of fir trees. And the property sizes, I would suggest, tend to be a little bit bigger. Now, depending on the year build you're looking for, sales prices do tend to be a little bit higher. There are new constructions being built in South Salem, but those are going to be probably $750,000+. You're going to have a little bit less of property to work with, but they do exist. And what is cool, though, is, for instance, there was a 2,400 square feet home. Mariah and I looked at it probably a year and a half ago, and it was right on Commercial Street. So these lots that are I guess, hard to find in a sense. You're right next to town.
Yeah.
The walkability of South Salem, I wouldn't say is the best, but it's definitely that arm's length away to where it takes 2 minutes to get to the grocery store on Commercial Street that you're choosing to go to.
Yes, we live in South Salem ourselves, and there are at least 5, probably maybe closer to 10 different grocery stores that are a less than 10-minute drive to us, 5-minute drive. A lot of them are even, some of them are even less. So it's a very convenient place to live. There's a lot of neighborhoods in South Salem that have really great, just clean, nice neighborhood parks, that type of thing.
And you're not getting, what I like about it though, is the road noises, the city noises, to where you're always getting cars flying on a busy roadway. It tends to be a little bit hidden, and that's where these neighborhoods are really big factors with South Salem, and that's why I think I like it the most. Roadways are always taken care of. I don't know if it's because the governor's mansion is in South Salem, but our roadways tend to always be street swept, garbage disposal. I mean, everybody just kind of takes care of their lots in some way. And these properties, like we mentioned, they do tend to be higher, maybe for that reason.
Yes, and property taxes are, higher as well. You're going to see a lot of really great neighborhood options though in South Salem. So North Salem is the next section that we will talk about. North Salem, I would say, so our first house was in North Salem.
I love North Salem.
And yes, I enjoyed living there. We were about a 20 to 25 minute drive, I would say, to a lot of places that I went, at least in South Salem. So just like to give an example of where, the different, I guess the proximity, I don't know. So in North Salem, a lot of our clients that are choosing to live over there are commuters. A lot of them live in Portland because North Salem is, just on that tip of Salem where you're going to be just a little bit closer to Portland. There's a lot of really great neighborhoods in North Salem that are super close to I-5. So you're really convenient in that sense. So in South Salem, there's Commercial Street, which is the main road, I guess you could say, where you have everything you need, food, restaurants, businesses, whatever you need is there. And North Salem's version, I guess, of Commercial Street is going to be called Lancaster Drive. So they do also have pretty much everything that you need. I personally don't like their grocery store options as much, but that's more just like a personal preference, I guess you could say.
Oh, Mariah.
But they do have, restaurants, food, businesses, shopping, everything that you need right there on Lancaster.
I like Lancaster because they got the Willamette Valley Town Center, the mall. They got Nordstrom Rack now. They got a lot of good food options when it comes to purchases. They got Popeyes, all the franchises you want, stuff like that. But they got Mexican restaurants, and I just think the options are, I think, more wide on Lancaster, Northeast Salem side of town. And another great point of Northeast Salem is price tags. Prices tend to be a little bit lower, a lot lower actually, I would suggest. Property taxes tend to be a little bit lower, and there's more opportunity to live in the county rather than the city in Northeast Salem. So that's going to ultimately affect your property taxes. You can almost cut things in half almost, or at least save $2,000, I would say, living in the county rather than the city. And I think that is a valid point if you're a first-time home buyer or a resale buyer in a market like this one, because those homes, they're quality built, a lot of 80s, 90s neighborhoods, especially when you're getting into a Jan Ray area. Look up that neighborhood if you're interested in Northeast Salem, Jan Ray neighborhood.
North Salem, you're super close to Kaiser, which is right there, which is basically, like I said, Kaiser is not in Salem. It's not like a side of town, but it's a separate town, but it's right there on the outskirts. A lot of people really love living there. But with North Salem, you are going to see the lowest average home price. So that's one reason a lot of buyers like to live there, is you're going to be able to just get more for your money living there than really any other side of Salem. There are a couple of different new construction communities that are building new homes over in North Salem, where I think the lowest price is like the low 400,000 range, which is
awesome.
There's no other area of Salem where you could get a new house for, that price point. So if you're interested in, information on any of that, let me know. I can definitely send you more information. Now let's talk about West Salem.
Those people.
Well, he says that because it's its own county. So it's kind of like separate a little bit from the rest of Salem, if you will. It's its own county. It's Polk County versus the rest of Salem is in Marion County. And the biggest thing that separates West Salem biggest difference between West Salem and the rest of Salem is there is a bridge that you need to drive over that gets you from West Salem to the rest of Salem. It'll take you right from downtown or central Salem to West Salem. Now, I feel like people either love living there or they just don't want to live over there usually it's because of the bridge.
And it's usually because of their location and workplace. They look at the bridge or the timing of traffic as an inconvenience for them, yet they choose to live in West Salem. There's pros to living in West Salem. You got the Willamette River. That's the river dividing central Salem to West Salem. But the costs are generally lower. The price tags are lower, just like it is in Northeast Salem, and it's part of Polk County, so your property taxes are lower as well. And I think that is a huge bonus and benefit to a lot of my clients. You get more price per square foot over there than I would say any other places here in Salem. These are a lot more basement-driven homes, so not the type of shallow basement we're thinking of probably in 1950, 60, 70. These are like 80s, 90s, early 2000s, high ceiling homes just on hillside properties. So they use a basement as another additional living space or bedroom. And I think there's a lot of bang for your buck there and a lot of investment opportunity if you were to rent out the basement or do an Airbnb or just do a dual living situation with mom and pa living with you.
A lot of our clients who are, have families that are relocating to the area do choose West Salem because they have that a little bit lower home price, but they also have top rated schools and, a lot of neighborhoods are really great, like low crime rating, just like really safe, desirable area. West and South Salem, I would say, have the highest rated schools, which you can look up schooldigger.com and then crimespot.net. If those are things that are important to you, you can go to those websites and find out like specifics on all the different neighborhoods, sides of town, and everything.
Now, the roadway in West Salem that you are going to be doing the majority of your shopping on is off of Wallace, correct?
Yeah.
Would you agree with me?
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
Wallace Road, they have your Roths. They have a little bit less options, I would say, to choose from. You really just have a Roths or a Safeway. There's no Walmarts. There's no other, grocery outlets. There's nothing like that. You do have foodries. You got the Hispanic restaurants. You got Carl's Jr. You got a couple of mom and pa's. If you want a really good breakfast joint, go to Annette's. Annette's is a terrific breakfast joint, and their servings are excellent. So that is my by far favorite food joint in West Salem. Bar food, I'm just plugging people right now. Bar food, there's Kelly's, there we go. Yeah. And that's probably 4 doors down from Lynette's, heading north. Annette's heading north. Yes. And they got excellent croissant sandwiches. Their croissants are freshly made every day. That's what separates them in that sandwich industry. But it's a small bar. Don't expect anything extravagant. Mainly great food. I only go there ever for the croissant sandwiches, basically. So West Salem, they do have some grocery shopping. They do have some restaurants, food, fast food, like that, everything, there's hair salons over there. However, there's just going to be less, if that makes sense, than, less options than other parts of Salem. A lot of our clients who choose to live in West Salem are people who are going to be working at the Salem Hospital, which is downtown. So they're basically just right over the bridge, just a quick drive. Or a lot of people who work for the state choose to live in West Salem because, again, it is a very convenient, close drive to downtown Salem. The bridge, we get asked a lot from out-of-state clients, like, how's the traffic? From my experience, it's not super bad during the day. It's really only congested during like picking up kids from school and then morning and afternoon work commute times. Like besides that, it should be great. 2 points of the day. Just realize you can time those things out. We've lived here our whole lives. I have never really sat in my car. Honestly, if a wreck happens, it is what it is, and we pray for that wreck to get cleared up. But I've never looked at traffic as a big inconvenience, especially throughout the whole city of Salem. And by far, is it a little bit slower to get over a bridge at times? Yes, but there's no toll tax. And that is number one to me. Whenever we go to California or something, you got to pay a toll to get over these bridges. There's no toll for this bridge. No. So some people do get confused coming out of state. I just wanted to clear that up. It's a free rite of passage.
Yes. And in West Salem, last thing I will add about that is I have had clients who wanted to live over there because they were coming from a state where they did not have the beach, or they didn't have a coast, and they were so excited to live near the coast. In West Salem, it's not a whole lot closer, but it's just a teeny bit closer to the Oregon coast than other parts of Salem because you can. One way to get to the coast is to drive through West Salem. Okay, so moving on to downtown/central about Salem.
I'm going to start calling it Condo City.
We are seeing a lot of condos popping up. So I would say even like, wouldn't you say 10 years ago, there was no, I mean, there were a very small amount of apartments downtown Salem, but there was no condos downtown, like specifically downtown. We are seeing a lot more condos being built downtown, and apartment complexes. If you want to live like right downtown, like right where the restaurants and the bars and the shopping, everything is, which it's not, it's a very small downtown, you know, it's not huge. But if you want to live right down there, then condos or apartments are really the only option for that.
Right. I think what they're doing right now in Central Salem, downtown Salem, it's going to explode probably 7 to 10 years from now. We're in that rebuilding phase. They just put a brand new hotel, the Holman. I have yet been there. I'm sure they got a great rooftop bar or something like that. It's a classy establishment. You got the Bentleys downtown as well. There's just really cool like points where if you create a routine to hit these shops or restaurants or places that you enjoy to go to throughout your week, there will always be something for you to do. So that's why, like, when I hear of another YouTuber or somebody online talking about, don't move to Salem, here's why, there's nothing to do, it's boring. That to me is just not relevant because there's always something to do if you seek it. In downtown, there's definitely activities going on, whether it's a yoga studio or a coffee joint, a restaurant, visiting a happy hour on routine, visiting, condo complexes, Art's really big. You are in the capital of Oregon. There's by far something to be doing activity-wise. Maybe not a high-rise building that looks the best like you would in Portland, but there's definitely activities. And if you guys are searching for that, I would say downtown Salem is an excellent place to be.
One thing that I love about downtown Salem is that it seems like almost every weekend, you know, during the summer when we would just be going to Riverfront Park for a walk, for example, there was always some sort of festival going on. Either we would get there and they're setting up for the festival or it's going on. Like it's like literally every weekend, it seems like.
Oh, I love
there's
it.
always something happening. And so that's one thing that I really like. If you look for events, you know, like there are always events going on. Now it's not as much in the winter.
Well, winter turns to indoor events. I mean, think about it. We have the theater, and that's just something that in my life I haven't quite gotten to yet. I would love to. I'm a really big fan of theater and orchestra. People probably don't even know that about me. I enjoy an old school theater that I get to sit and look at arts and performance. That is something that I don't know with age or what. It's just become more and more interesting to me, and that is definitely relevant here in the downtown area.
Yeah.
Where can people find theater, Mariah?
We have a couple really beautiful theaters downtown. One of them is the historic Elsinore Theater, where if you just look up events going on, there is constantly events going on, you know, throughout the week at that theater. So definitely something to check out. As far as neighborhoods go near downtown Salem. So I love it for the parks. There's really great parks downtown. As far as neighborhoods go, I would say my favorite neighborhood is going to be the Bush Park neighborhood.
Okay.
It's not every day that things come for sale in that neighborhood, but if you are looking for something that is walkable, I mean, it's still going to be, it's not going to be what you're expecting living in like Portland, for example. It's going to be probably a little bit longer of a walk, but if you are wanting something that is walkable in Salem, I would say that's probably one of the most walkable neighborhoods. It's close to downtown, and they're really, really beautiful, like historic homes.
When you hear downtown in Central Salem, those type of things are I would say packaged together. These type of homes that are available or that you will see listed, they're going to be zoned maybe sometimes commercial or multi-use, but they're going to be older homes. And there's a definitely more historical side to this Central Salem. It's flat. There's no real hills. So you're going to be seeing those old school basements and just kind of older style builds, less square footage. And property style wise, I think conditions tend to be less than what an average buyer is willing to pay right now for these sales prices.
Yeah.
So that's kind of why they tend to be a little bit lower in sales price because of condition and things that you as the new owner are going to have to meet.
Yeah. Now, so something to get out of the way or just put out there is, as real estate agents, we legally cannot say this is a bad side of town or this is a good side of town. And of course, that's more like objective anyway. You know, that's like could change based off of what it is you're looking for. But we can point you to the facts and statistics. And statistically, I would say there's many neighborhoods in Central Salem, like that area is probably the lowest or the worst ratings, I guess,
worst
for
rated.
like worst crime ratings, lowest school ratings. So that's, and I mean, you're going to see lower home prices. I know I'm just thinking of a particular showing I had with some clients who were looking in, a few different parts of Salem, and we rolled up to a house that was in the central Salem area, and we didn't even get out of the car. They were like, this is just isn't what I'm looking for. And it's not like, don't get me wrong, if you're not from Salem, it's not like there's an area where you can't drive through or walk through, without worrying about being shot. Like, it's not like that.
I've definitely been to those areas in parts of the country where, not here in Oregon, but like say in California or something, you just know you are in the wrong hood. People are looking at you. You have an Oregon license plate. You ain't from that area. You better get out. I don't think there's many places like that here in Salem. And that is a question that you guys, our audience, asks us when they do come to Oregon. Any places I should avoid? I don't want to get mugged if I get out of my car. I just haven't really seen it that much. Now, are there places you probably don't want to go in the dark when there's no street light? And there's petty theft, there's crime everywhere you go in the nation. Yeah. And keep in mind, routinely, throughout every state, the capital areas tend to roam a little bit more crime. And Central Salem is basically attached to the capital. Yeah, it's Central Salem, very close, and that's just the way it is due to the location. Yeah. So that is our observations.
I will say I have a couple that I'm thinking of in particular, a young couple who was moving here from out of state and not too long ago, and they were on a very tight budget, but they really valued homeownership. They didn't want to rent here. They knew rent's high as well, so they wanted to just find something to own, and so they were willing to look on any side of town. They did not care. They were willing to look, wherever, and where they ended up buying was a location that had what you would consider, the worst crime rating, worst school rating, which they knew that obviously when they bought. I remember
that house. And that was a great house.
Right. They knew that when they bought, and they didn't care, and they're very happy there. And the reason that they said that they didn't mind is because where they were moving from was a lot more bigger city, just a lot worse crime than even the worst part of Salem. So take it with a grain of salt, do your own research, do what's best for you. But Salem is a very suburban town overall, I would say.
Absolutely.
Okay. So lastly, let's touch on Kaiser for a little bit.
Kaiser. I like Kaiser. They got their own street signs. Everything seems to be blue. Their high school's a great football field, at least. Yeah. I mean, they got a great school system and wrestling program. They support their girls. And me being a local wrestling coach myself, I love. They got a good girls program going up over there. So Kaiser, it's that branch off of Salem, like we were mentioning. So northest point of Salem, before you hit I-5, Brooks, and Woodburn, there's a pretty big gap between Kaiser and Brooks. I would say at least a 5 to 8 mile gap. And then you go to Woodburn from Brooks, there's another big gap. So Kaiser is your last point. You're going to be dealing with a lot of cool things, though, in Kaiser. They're expanding. They got a lot of ranch-style homes. They have riverfront properties. I think that's a really big bonus Kaiser provides that a lot of Salem does not. And these properties on the Willamette River are gorgeous and big on acreage. They usually have 1.5, 2 acres at least. Property taxes are a little bit lower because you're not in Salem. You're a part of Kaiser, so they're just a little bit different. Yeah. Anything else you have?
One thing to add is home prices in Kaiser, because it is it's its own town. Technically, it's a desirable area, and home prices are a little bit higher than in some parts of Salem. Mm-hmm. Just because,
I would agree.
There's also less inventory because there's just less houses there, and I think that could be a factor of that. Kaiser is an area where we see and have always seen a lot of buyers who are either moving from Portland, want that still work there but want the lower home prices. A lot of them choose Kaiser because you are just a little bit closer to Portland, and it's just that quick commute on I-5. Or people who are moving from out of state and want to be just like on the outskirts there.
Now, your roadways in Kaiser, you got 2 to really choose from. You got Chamawa Road, which is going to get you to that Kaiser Station, In-N-Out Burger, Chick-fil-A, your shopping centers, Lowe's. Yeah. There's a Volcano Stadium. They host a semi-pro baseball team. And then you have South River Road. South River Road is going to go all the way through Kaiser, hitting to the downtown area, and combining to Commercial Street. So you get those two roadways, and they're just long and straight, and no real hills. I would say Kaiser's a flat territory because it branches off of Central Salem, and it's very easy to navigate. Now, Kaiser does have golf course. I would say. They have condo living. They have riverfront properties. They have a lot of ranch style homes, like I mentioned before. Now, inventory is lower. That is one thing I would point out. Yeah. And with that being said, prices generally are higher because of the competitiveness wanting to live in Kaiser.
Right. Wanting to stay in that school district or whatever the reason is. Thank you for hanging out with us today. If you are thinking about relocating to Oregon, be sure to reach out. We would love to help you, and we'll see you next week.